Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm going to be giving you guys I'm going to be doing like a video reaction today of a video from the Joe Rogan podcast back in like 2024 or something. Now, I will warn you, there is some choice language on this video I'm going to share with you guys. But what I want to do is I just want to let you guys see that a lot of the things that Eddie Bravo was saying on this podcast back in, I can't remember what month it was definitely 24. A lot of the things that he's saying about war, Epstein files, and remember, this was before the Epstein files were released. War, the Epstein files, alien invasion. Let's look at what he said back then. Some of the things I've been saying, and look where we are now, like 2 years later. And ladies and gentlemen, there is a dark Keir Starmer connection here as well. So for those of you guys who've been watching the channel, well, I keep saying, yeah, Keir Starmer's not going anywhere. Diddly squat, not going anywhere. You guys can start, from what we're saying here on this, what Eddie Bravo and Joe Rogan are talking about on this podcast. The things they're talking about, you guys will be able to put them together and think, oh, hang on a minute, and start connecting those dots. And then you'll start to have more of a holistic understanding on why, first of all, Keir Starmer's not resigning, right? I've been talking about that for a while. But as we're moving forwards, and I've said this for quite a while, I don't know whether first of all, my prediction is that we will be told aliens are real. And I've said, if we're told aliens are real, then we're going to be told they're coming. And that's all going to relate back to the Epstein files. I've said that many, many times. Now, I don't know whether that's going to be true or not. And in this video, they are going to be talking about that particular scenario, and people used to laugh. People laugh at these conspiracy theorists like a long time ago. And look, if you was on my live stream earlier when I was talking about the ticks, the Lone Star ticks in America, I'll be honest with you, I will laugh about that as well. And I thought that was wild. When people talk about reptilian aliens, I think that is so absurd. But you know what, guys? Here we are in 2026, and there are now mainstream media outlets reporting that there are 4 types of aliens: the greys, the insectoids, the reptilians, and the Nordics. They are reporting on that now with a straight face. So back in 2024, Eddie Bravo sat on Joe Rogan podcast and dropped a bombshell. He said, I think that everything that's going on in the world right now is linked to Jeffrey Epstein. That's what he said. The people on that list, so remember, they were talking about the Epstein list and they wanted the client list of everybody that's been to the island. Obviously, when we look at these things, and you look at what's happening in the world, you don't get all the information, but you can see the direction of travel, right? So remember, this was in 2014. And he's saying that if those people had a choice, would you rather go to jail for doing whatever they're accused of, right? Would you rather go to jail, or would you rather just start World War III? Would you rather have a civil war or a fake alien invasion where everything changes overnight? And that could be the case, guys. I don't know. He went on to say these powerful people would happily choose global chaos, World War III, civil war, staged alien invasion, because it would save their bacon. It would save the bacon from what's going on in the Epstein files. Now, I think he was absolutely right about the Epstein files. I think they're a lot bigger than people understand. But if we look around today, the Epstein files have been dropped. More names and more connections keep getting put together. And I'm going to give you guys some connections very soon that are going to connect back to Keir Starmer. And I keep banging my head on the ground. I feel like I'm banging my head on the floor because nobody on the mainstream media has made the, nobody has made the connection yet between Keir Starmer and Epstein. And it's really easy. And this video, it's going to, literally the final sentence in the video, that's the connection. So these, you know, these Epstein documents keep dropping. People keep making more connections. More names are being accused. Questions, you know, we never seem to get real answers. Meanwhile, the world seems we're teetering on the edge of World War III. I would say we're already in it. Growing talk of wider conflict in the Middle East and Europe, potential chaos everywhere, and a steady drip of UFO disclosure that seems perfectly timed to capture the headlines. So the uncomfortable question is, what more conspiracies are true? Right, let me, I'll share this video with you guys now. It's not sharing. Oh, sorry, I'll put the chat on actually. So I will warn you guys, I will warn you, ladies and gentlemen, there is some choice language, but I will be stopping this at various points.
I think everything that's going on right now in the world is linked to Jeffrey Epstein.
Remember, guys, this interview was 2024, before the Epstein files had been released.
That's what I think. I think
everything.
I think everything.
Man. Trump shit, everything.
Everything. Who's
UFOs,
connected? Who, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know,
yeah, all of it. All of it.
Since I met you, we've discussed UFOs. UFOs have been around. They've been talking about them since Jesus left Chicago.
Right.
But the last 3 fucking years, everybody's seen fucking UFOs.
Yeah.
How about that Miami shit? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, dog.
So remember, this was in 24, and think how much more exposure UFOs, UAPs, aliens, think how much more media attention that's got, right?
The people who did coke for 40 years. Yeah. That's what you saw. You didn't see no fucking aliens. But that's what they're selling all. Now people from the Navy.
It's a distraction.
All of a sudden, all these pilots. Yeah. I was going here and they were driving right next to me, waving at me.
Fake.
Really? And now you decide to fucking tell me.
This is what I think.
Tell me.
There's a lot of important people that were on that list, right?
Right.
A lot from all over the world.
Right.
Politics,
music,
Hollywood, music,
actors.
You saw the list is out, dog. No ass right there.
No
Chris Tucker pretty much said it was real.
Yep.
See, Joe Rogan said then, I don't know if you mentioned that, but he said physicists as well. And that's always like, that's playing on me. It really is playing on me, the physicists thing. Because nobody can deny that Epstein was funding a lot of, he was funding a lot of scientific research. Why? Why was he funding that scientific research? I don't have an answer to that, guys. I really don't. I don't have, in my head, there's nothing I can say. Yes, that's why he was funding that scientific research.
Not that everybody on the list did shit. Who knows? It would be easy to, like you said, drag. Like if in the 90s or in the 2000s, if people would have liked my music and I would have had a record deal, thank God nobody liked it.
And somebody said, hey, you want to come to the island?
Let's go to an island, dog. There's a billionaire. He's got a bunch of bitches.
Right, hang on. I'm going to fast forward this because there's some really choice language. Give me a second. You don't lose anything.
Like if they had a choice, you want to go to jail for this shit as a pedophile, or would you rather have World War III? Would you rather have fucking civil war? Would you rather have a fake alien invasion where
So he's saying that this is back in 2004. Would you rather have a fake alien invasion or go to jail? I think I would. I think I know which one I would choose. If I was looking at jail and somebody said to me, right, Sean, do you want to help me with a fake alien invasion or do you want to go to jail? So maybe the whole Epstein operation was to compromise those people so you could have a fake alien invasion, right?
The world changes, like the whole world changes right away. Where would you go? Would you rather go to Guantanamo Bay? Would you rather go to prison? Or would you rather have World War III, Mad Max, alien invasion? That's what I think. World War III would save them. Alien invasion would save them. And a civil war will save them. So they want.
So think about that, right? World War III, a civil war, and an alien invasion. Can we say yes to all three? because that's what it looks like, right? All across the West. I think America may be a little bit, maybe slightly insulated from the Civil War because they have a constitution. But certainly here in Europe, other places across the West, it does look like we are imploding, right? With, some sort of civil war. It does look like we're already in a third world war. And it does look like by the day as the normalization of UFOs and aliens becomes more relevant. If you guys were on my live stream earlier, we were talking about what was we talking about? Ebola, right? And what I said was, on your social media, X or Facebook or whatever you post on, YouTube or whatever, there will be algorithms that can search for how people are reacting, right? And that algorithm will be, that AI, will be, which I guess is an algorithm, that AI will then be able to search everything and say, right, okay, people are 60% this, 30% this, and 10% that. We'll be able to do that like within a couple of minutes, maybe even seconds. So they'll be able to judge what's happening with this UFO spectrum, and they'll be able to say, right, okay, release this information slowly, see how people react. And that's absolutely happening right now.
All that shit, dog. They want all that.
Sorry.
That's what I think. World War III would save them. Alien invasion would save them. And a civil war will save them. So they want all that shit, dog. They want all that. They want complete chaos so they don't go to jail. That's what I think.
I don't like that the list only released 300 people. A lot more than 300 people on that fucking island. And I think they took the bottom hat. Like,
was there really 300 people on that list?
I don't know.
That's what
I don't know if the official list has been released, has it?
Yeah. No. Who knows? The list could be fake. The list could be fake.
Okay, so again, just for context, guys, if you're just joining now, this was in 2024, right? Where they were going to release an Epstein list, right? If you guys can remember that, it was all about, we're going to release the Epstein list. We're going to release this, the list. Turns out they just released a load of files, right? It's now the Epstein files. So just in case anybody's wondering what they mean by the list, that's what they were talking about pre-Epstein release, which was in 2025.
Releasing a list, but they're still covering up the fucking.
But Chris Tucker, he basically said, he didn't deny it. He said, yeah.
Right. He said he flew with Jeffrey Epstein to Africa, but he didn't say he went to the island.
Exactly.
I think the people that went to the island, that's where things get real weird.
No, but you could go to the island and not know either.
And he also had a place in Manhattan. He was famous for having big parties at this house in Manhattan that he got from the guy who owned Victoria's Secret.
The most expensive mansion.
Guy gave him this
$75 million mansion.
There was other guys that were.
Okay. Nobody gives people anything, right? So this guy just, like they said there, I think it's the guy who owns Victoria's Secrets, just gave Jeffrey Epstein a $75 million mansion. Yeah, mate, have that. You come in the pub? Yeah, you buying? Can you get? Yeah, I'll get the beers. You gave me that mansion. Yeah, no worries, mate. Thank you. These are payoffs. There was one a while ago. I think it was Prince Andrew. It might not have been. I think it was Prince Andrew, although I might be just thinking about that because it was a high-profile individual anyway. I think it was Prince Andrew, but it doesn't really matter. There was a high-profile individual, I think last year or something, and they sold one of their properties for $5 million. The value of that property was $3 million, right? So what was he getting paid for? You see how you can move money around very easily, legally, and nobody can question that. So why are you getting paid? So basically, there's a surplus to the property's value of $3 million. So what was that extra $3 million for? Being a good boy? I don't know. What had he done in return for that $3 million?
Or like these big hedge fund guys that gave him like $100 million, gave it to him,
and they can't track why.
Yeah,
nobody knows why he was so powerful.
Okay, now here's where you get the Keir Starmer connection, all right? So I'm going to let this play, and then I'll rewind it, and I'll break it down for you.
And then also Trump's on the list, but Trump was like, "Nah, we hitched a ride to Trump Towers."
What you got to look into is Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell, right? British. She's British, right? Ghislaine Maxwell is British.
Was his partner, but Ghislaine Maxwell's father, or what the fuck? Ghislaine? Ghislaine. Look into her father, Robert Maxwell.
Boom! Look into her father, Robert Maxwell. I'm not making that up. They were talking. Look, guys, this is an Hang on. Ghislaine, sorry, not Ghislaine. Ghislaine.
Father, or what the fuck? Ghislaine? Ghislaine. Look at.
Maybe it should be Ghislaine.
Into her father, Robert Maxwell.
Yeah.
All the answers are right there.
Because he was a spy.
Okay, so right at the end of that clip.
Father, or what the fuck? Ghislaine? Ghislaine. Look into her father, Robert Maxwell.
Yeah.
All the answers are right there.
Because he was a spy.
So what he's saying is, if you look into Robert Maxwell, all the answers are there. Now, I've absolutely done this to death. Like a million. I've probably done a million videos on this, maybe 2 million. Lord Ali used to work for Robert Maxwell. Lord Ali funds Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. That's like, if you want to understand how deep this rabbit hole goes, it's all there. It's not hidden. It's not hidden. And you can find this information out. It's literally 3 clicks on Wikipedia and you find this information out. So I'm like, why is none of the mainstream media in the United Kingdom said, hang on a minute, Keir Starmer, you are getting funded from this guy and this guy worked for that guy. Oh, where's this money coming from? And who does Lord Ali really work for? Because like I said earlier, hang on, I think it was Prince Andrew. Give me a second. Yeah. Honestly, guys, you guys listen. I do all this stuff off the top of my head. Let me share this. It was Prince Andrew and it was 3 million. Prince Andrew sold his former marital home, Sunning Hill Park, in Berkshire, to a Kazakh billionaire, Timur Belivri, in 2007. This represented an inflated price as it was 3 million over the asking price and significantly higher than its estimated market value. So, and this was reported on by the, And this is reported on by the BBC as well. Let me just, Oh, well, look, the BBC are throwing this out there. Oligarch linked to bribery paid Andrew 15 million for his mansion. And they're saying that this was 3 million. Obviously, I don't know. There we go, look. He reportedly paid 3 million more than the asking price and an estimated 7 million more. Oh, so Jesus, it was worse. So he reportedly paid 3 million more than the asking price. And it was also estimated 7 million more than the property's value. So I was slightly wrong on that. It wasn't 3 million, it was 7 million. So you've got to understand, when you've got all these, these big players and they're moving money around, you can absolutely understand, right, where people have that capacity and that, that influence. You can see how they would be able to, just move 10 million there. 10 million there, 5 million there, or give him 1 million and shut him up. Give him 1 million and make him vote that way. Everything's a scam and everything's fake. Right, let me jump on here, guys, and get some chat, and then I will be closing this down. Old School Pete is saying, never let the elite weirdos say they speak for God. They will say God punished the people, but it's their systems, nothing more. If they believed God was with them, they would simply sit back. Loreza for Trump is saying, what if they will withheld parts of the files to maintain control or whitemail people, like disarming a complex device? Yeah, I've heard that as well. I've heard that as well. First of all, I don't know. It's something when I do my analysis with everything, I always like, I start with things I understand and I know. You can't start with an unknown, right? You can't start your basis of anything with a question mark. So I don't know how that would work, and it seems really complicated to me. But as the theory's going, people are being kept off the Epstein lists so they can be blackmailed themselves and say, listen, I've got the information on you, right? I've got the information on your organization. I want more information, or I'm going to release your name as part of those Epstein files. Maybe that is the case. I don't know. David is saying a lot of these things, I believe a lot of these things are just tax write-off due to the fact they like how to do, you sell an air sculpture. Yeah. There's a lot of those places in, I think there's one in, go on. I think there's one in Amsterdam. It's an art storage facility. So you can basically go there, right? And you can buy, you can buy an air sculpture or something for $100 million. You can sell it to someone and there's no taxes. There's no fees because it's in an international airport. And it's just a tax dodge, basically. Hot Mess is saying, and the individuals negotiating international deals on behalf of the US are all real estate developers. David is saying, if they are, sorry, he's not saying that. Oh, he's saying, Sean, if you really want to check out a good conspiracy theory, it might help out with the next show. You should check out into the big 12 companies and how much of the world's wealth they control. Right. I don't know what the 12 are, but I was talking to my friend. Yeah, you can. I was talking to my friend, and we're under the we came to the conclusion that the whole world right now is just these mega corporations just moving money between each other. So say that I'm one of the mega corporations, David, and you're one of the mega corporations, right? Me and you, we do a deal, and I give you 100 billion, right? And then with that 100 billion, you then give that 100 billion to someone else. And then that 100 billion goes to someone else. And then that 100 billion comes back to me. And all the time you're making interest, you're doing stuff. And like, we were just like, that's pretty much the world at the moment. Digital Anarchy is saying, I watched another video from early on. You was talking about the Dartford Tunnel, right? Okay, the Dartford Tunnel. I lived there, and they said that it was going to be free once it was paid off. Yeah, it's even more expensive now. So the Dartford Tunnel, you used to So look, guys, if you're not from the United Kingdom, over the River Thames, around London, you've got a ring road. It's called the M25. Obviously, it's a ring road. Massive traffic jams all the time. And to go over the River Thames, you've got something called I think it's called the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. I think the bridge coming south is called the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. And then if you go underneath it, it's called the Dartford Tunnel. Everybody calls it the Dartford Crossing, right? Because it's in Dartford. It used to be £1, right? You used to drive up to these booths. You literally used to throw £1 in like a little, a little thing. And you just used to drive through. Now there's nothing, right? There's nothing. So you drive through it now, and like you don't even get told. You have to phone up. You literally have to phone up and pay like £3.50 online. It's ridiculous. I didn't actually know. I went the other month when I went there. I came back and I was coming back from France. The first I knew is I got a letter in the post and I had to pay like 16 quid or whatever it was because I didn't pay. Old School Pete is saying whatever these elites really believe, they wear the skin suits of religion when it suits them. They seem to have corrupted most things of worth, sadly. Yeah, and I think people, and these things happen, don't they? Because you trust police, for example. You trust the police. So you infiltrate the police, and then people lose trust in the police, and then people go crazy. And all this is, all this I've talked about before when I talk about ideological subversion. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start to swizzle this one down. What I've been talking about today is an Eddie Bravo, a Joe Rogan video, basically, with Eddie Bravo, and he was saying back in 2024 that he feels everything is related to the Epstein files. And I've been saying that myself slightly from a different angle. I've been saying everything is related to the Epstein files. But when you see these people from like years ago connecting these dots, and then you look back and we're looking more and more like we're in World War III, Civil War, alien invasion, all those things they were talking about looks like they're happening now. And then as a Brucey bonus, ladies and gentlemen, at the end, he threw out the Keir Starmer link, which when you hear things like Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, you can't name those people without talking about Lord Ali. You can't talk about Lord Ali without talking about how much he funds the Labour Party. So then if you think, right, would it be a fair statement to say that you work for whoever pays you? I think that would be a fair statement, right? Whoever pays you, you work for them, right? So who does Keir Starmer work for? Oh, he works for Lord Ali. Okay, who does Lord Ali work for? Well, he used to work for Robert Maxwell. Okay, so what organization does he work for and who do they report to and why? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. I'm going to be doing some members-only videos, and then I don't think I will be back on. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover for today. I will be back on this evening at 8 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I will. 8 o'clock. I may be on slightly. No, I'm not going to come on. 8 o'clock's my time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not done so already, please hit those buttons. Hit that like button. If you're on, you've not done so, hit that like button, the hype button. If you've not hit that bell notification, that really helps me out as well, guys. And I will, if I don't see you through the day, which I don't think I will, because I've got more beer to bottle. I haven't got more beer to bottle. I'll be back on at 8, and I bid you good afternoon.